Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yoon Jung-min. In Doha, President Yoon Suk Yeol continues his Middle East diplomacy in the wake of his trip to Saudi Arabia. He is the first South Korean leader to make a state visit to Qatar, and this trip involves a bilateral summit with Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad al-Thani, where he is expected to ramp up Korea's economic and cultural ties as the two countries reach 50 years of diplomatic relations in 2024. Our Oh Soo-young is traveling with the president and connects with us now for a preview. Hello there, Sooyoung. First, let's talk about the significance of this trip. What's the atmosphere like over there?
Good evening, Tamim. Well, speaking of the weather, well, it's really quite hot here over in Doha, of course, where the South Korean president is now on an official state visit. And his Middle East diplomacy to expand Seoul's partnership with Qatar and Saudi Arabia has created quite a media buzz here in the Gulf region, particularly with the local press in Saudi Arabia giving a very extensive coverage of the president's meeting with Crown Prince Hamad bin Salman, them driving together in that Mercedes-Benz to the Future Investment Initiative, and some 60 memorandums of understanding and deals spanning energy, infrastructure, and so on between the two countries' largest firms. That's created quite a media fervor. The president isn't staying as long here in Qatar as he leaves on his second day, which is today, of course, but anticipation is very much building up. The local press here, around 7 of them, have already reported on the South Korean president's trip here. And to be more specific about his visit to the exhibition yesterday, where South Korea showcased its smart farm technology at the Doha's International Horticultural Expo, which the president, of course, attended. Here's what the top office had to say.
The governments of both countries also plan to revise the Smart Farm Cooperation MOU on the occasion of this state visit and systematically promote specific cooperation projects, such as the creation of a smart farm technology complex.
So smart farming is just one aspect of cooperation going forward. I mean, I'd say that his meeting, President Yoon's meeting with the Qatari leader, is likely to produce surmountable results in elevating the relationship between Seoul and Doha, especially ahead of their 50-year milestone next year, as you said.
And Sooyoung, the Qatari leader welcomed President Yoon in an official ceremony before their bilateral talks this morning. What do we expect to come out from this summit?
Of course, it's hard to say for sure, but if President Yoon's interview with the local press ahead of his trip is anything to go by, the two leaders this morning would have been looking to broaden the areas of cooperation from the energy and construction sectors to new emerging industries and increase friendship and exchanges between the two sides as well. Now, economic cooperation is, of course, likely to take up a very big part of their discussions, as Qatar is South Korea's second largest supplier of liquefied natural gas, which greatly contributes to the country's energy security. Meanwhile, South Korean firms have participated in numerous construction projects here in Qatar, including really major national projects such as the Lusa Expressway and the very iconic National Museum of Qatar, of course. With a delegation of around 59 business leaders, President Yoon is going to appeal for greater opportunities, inroads into the Qatari market for South Korean building firms and shipyards, particularly amid growing competition for lucrative contracts here in the country. So we can probably expect to see some memorandums of understanding signed between the two governments and business as well from each side in order to facilitate smoother operations and management. However, the president, upon his visit to Qatar, he's very eager to expand the bilateral partnership as both economies look towards a sustainable post-oil future. So the two leaders will therefore discuss investment, the defense industry, smart farming, culture, and interpersonal exchanges. And they're quite likely to set up some sort of framework for cooperation so that the people of both nations can enjoy more practical benefits in their everyday lives.
So what comes next after the summit? He is, like you said, set to depart for Korea later in the day. I assume he will be pressed for time.
That's right. We're looking at a very packed schedule here. Following the leaders' summit, the signing ceremony of various MOUs and a luncheon between the leaders as well. The South Korean president is going to attend a business forum, and that's expected to have a turnout of about 300 corporate leaders from both sides to really encourage investment and collaboration in sectors like energy, LNG, renewables, as well as biohealth and cultural content as well. And the president's also set to speak with young Qataris as he pays a visit to the country's education city. Now that's home to some of the world's leading institutes, startup incubators and technology parks as well. So he's going to be promoting collaborations between the two countries going forward in future industries. Then he's going to head back to South Korea, wrapping up his almost week-long trip to the Middle East.
Well, it's been an unprecedented state visit to these Middle Eastern countries by a South Korean leader. Well, thank you, Sooyoung, for keeping us updated, and travel back safely.
Thank you, gentlemen.